What is going on, fam? How is everything doing? Listen, there are some things that we just should be able to leave alone, ladies and gentlemen, but we cannot leave alone. But anyway, fam, before I get into it, we ain't gotta be here forever. But before I get into it, please, please, please take a moment to actually hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you have not subscribed. Hit that subscribe button for me. But listen, fam, a lot of people, I have so many people, so many critics, and critics rarely become helpers. critics critics don't want to become helpers because even what you should do. You should be interviewing all of the economists about all of the things and the things that we all need to talk about, and you should be talking theory and you should be talking economics and these things. This event is what you should be doing. Let me teach you. Listen, and I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I understand all of that. But I also understand something else that I think sometimes people don't quite understand about where we are. The reason I talk about certain things is because how they're used and how they are perceived. Like the problem becomes you cannot outrun the people that you are supposed to be representing. You cannot be a servant of the people and outrun the people. Now, we do have a great minority of people who are doing great things, a lot of them inside this org. But the idea, ladies and gentlemen, the idea that you somehow just get to run past the group, no, there has to be a baseline. We have a lot of people in the foundation and some outside who are doing great work and understand a lot of stuff. But we still have people, and we have had people who are being manipulated in a certain kind of way. Now, so when you ask, please don't ask, well, why did you talk about Diddy? I avoided Diddy for as long as I could, but there's something that we have to say. I have a video up on Twitter from a YouTube I made in 2017 about how the way in which Diddy was a tool of social engineering, and he didn't have the money. He wasn't a boss. This was all to make me believe a certain thing about ourselves that is not true, and thus react in a way that is not beneficial to us. And we got told we were haters and all this kinds of stuff. And now that he's in court and we see him allegedly for the absolute degenerate that he is everything that we said and worse. Going around talking about black excellence. And let me tell you, whoever this, listen, this court person who's drawing, is this AI? Who is drawing this? So anyway, let me get to it, fam. That is Capricorn. I'm Southern. Capricorn Clark. And they said a Southern accent is disappearing, but that's a whole nother story. But that is who that is, ladies and gentlemen. Right? And she said a lot of things, but one of the things I want to get to, well, let me not rush past. Let me just go through some of the stuff that was said, right? I don't want to rush past this because I want to get to something else, but I don't want to take too long. This Negro was a terror. Do you hear me? This Negro was just running around wreaking havoc. And we say he's awful. We have enough. Listen, before I get into Capricorn, we had enough information about him then. But the royalties, well, that's what business is. Well, hold on. You have adopted this other thing where, okay, if the white man do it, the white man take advantage of people. If he take advantage, I can take advantage of you too. If he screw you, I can screw you too. Is that, and I've said this forever, and I said it recently, is that the standard, ladies and gentlemen? We always knew. He ran up in his son, he ran up and tried to mollywop his son's coach. Physical violence, and they dropped the charges. He has been around a lot of violent things and somehow always slipped away. So let's talk about old Capricorn. Clark began to cry under cross-examination after she was asked about working hard for Combs and whether she believed in the work she was doing. That's a good question. Combs' former employee told the court that she learned a lot from Combs, especially someone who didn't finish her college education. She said she considered it another form of business school. Clark said that Combs was tenacious and broke glass ceilings. He probably tried to break your nose too. Clark told the court that she was locked up in an office for around 40 hours while being subjected to a lie detector test about missing jewelry. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Some jewelry goes missing and all of your rights go away. You just locked up in a room and for some missing jewelry and they won't let you leave. This is some gangster mafioso stuff. See, when people tell you all the time, oh, I love to watch The Godfather, I love to watch this, that is some degenerate stuff. You be trying to mimic stuff that's in movies. You be trying to mimic Italian mobs and stuff. Why don't you mimic some of your people that was fighting for their people back way when we got here? We done had all kind of slave revolts, all kind of revolutions, all kind of stuff. Why don't you mimic some of that? Why don't you mimic some of the good stuff we did? Now you want to go and mimic the Italian mob. But I digress. Let's go back to Capricorn. She testified under cross-examination that she was hooked up to a polygraph at about 10 a.m. and wouldn't be finished until about 5 or 6 p.m. Clark said she would take the test. It would be taken for review, and she would keep taking the test until Combs cleared her 5 days later. Asked by defense attorney Mark Agrifield, I'm not pronouncing nobody's name no more. If your name ain't Smith, I'm not pronouncing it no more. Somebody said in the chat, asked by the defense attorney whether she reported to Human Resources that she was locked in the building while she took a lie detector test over the course of 5 days. Clark said she did not. She was locked in a building while she took And y'all be talking about, remember how they was talking about the fam, how it was so good to work for Diddy? Who wants to work for Diddy? Oh my God, his assistant, I bet she make a bunch of money. We're going to get to that. I bet she make a bunch of money and she going to have all these opportunities and eventually she going to rise to the top and all this stuff. Remember all that stuff we heard about these people? And I said, first of all, Diddy ain't got no money. Not the way you think he got money. He ain't got money. He don't have no, all this billionaire talk was trash. Right? I told y'all that. I told y'all all the billionaires. Did I get it right, fam, with the volume? I finally, this is a sweet zone then. Okay, thank you for telling me. But didn't I tell y'all? Watch the calling volume still be trash. I be tweaking it, but watch it. Look, but listen, I said he ain't got no money. This ain't no real billionaire. This ain't nobody who owns distribution. This ain't nobody who owns factories. That's the kind of thing you own when you are a true billionaire. Or you work in stocks. Like you work in stocks, you got this hedge fund, all this kind of stuff. There are ways to be billionaires. There's ways to be liquid. No, this was all social engineering. So he over there, and the way he's able to control people is not, but you buy a salary and I'm competitive and you come in. None of that stuff. He's able to control people by being able to lock them up. And somehow, he's able to do a whole lot of illegal stuff because, hey, people regard the people who work for him as nothing because we're a bottom caste. So they running around thinking that's their doorway into the stuff. And all the while, they are just terrorized by this man. Diddy might got bodies. Let me tell you. If I had to bet, that's what my money would be. But he ain't controlling them because he's allowing them to thrive. He is terrorizing these people. Like allegedly, he is terrorizing these people. These are hoodlum tactics. These are gang warfare tactics. Pack my baby oil and my pink. And listen, and if I want to just lock you up or smack, hey, that's what happens. That's what it is around here. That's how I do. So let me just go to I don't want to take too long, but I want to just point out some things. Combs fired Clark, she said, for allegedly failing to inform him that Cassie Ventura was dating Kid Cudi. I lost everything, Clark said, ticking off a list of employment benefits such as health insurance and 401k. Clark said Combs gave her a 30-day notice in 2012. He said, I would never work again. All these people weren't my friends, and he would make me KILL myself. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a monster. I don't care what you say. If these allegations are true, and I believe they are, and we've seen it. See, you can't leave celebrity alone when that's how they manipulate us, right? If they manipulate us through celebrity, like I just saw somewhere Trump, Larry Hoover, even though he still got the state charges, that's what they do. And they say, oh, he can't be all bad because he commuted Larry Hoover, who wasn't in the Chicago gang. I don't know. I don't keep up with all this gang stuff. People keep up with all this gang warfare stuff. I don't keep up with it. Then you have, on the other side, you have Democrats who will manipulate us through real and imagined threats, right? And our fears. So we are just a group that's just kind of rife for manipulation. That's kind of who we are. And that becomes a problem. See, I want to bring something up before we go through all the ways this woman was terrorized. I want to say also that she was only making $55,000. All this talk we have been having, ladies and gentlemen, about, he's a boss, and if you work for him, you gonna go places. She was making $55,000, and I think it was in New York. You can find an admin job right now making $55,000 that allows you to not be terrorized. But you won't be on the red carpets, and you won't have that thing dangled in front of you that at some point you're going to be somebody, and at some point you're going to meet some people and make connections. Listen, they killing us with that network grift. Earn your leisure, killing you with the network grift. Get over here and meet some people, and y'all going to make some money. Who made money? It was just a bunch of speakers that y'all paid a hefty speaking fee to come out. But who made money from networking? They kill us with that networking. Of people with a bunch of pennies networking. Well, you're going to meet somebody. He had the money to pay. Listen, it's not just that he wouldn't pay. That's true. He was like a baby monster. But like that, it's not just that. He don't have a bunch of money to pay all his staff. He's letting everybody believe that. So you see him walking around with a bunch of people, and you be like, man, he got all the people. He got everybody. He got white folk, black folk. He got everybody. He a boss. No, he's abusing people. And there was enough evidence to see that beforehand. We shouldn't have spent all that time with all them news stories about Diddy. Diddy this, Diddy that. We shouldn't have spent all that time. That was a waste of time. That was an absolute waste of time. Now, I keep telling you, one of the things I keep telling y'all, fam, is that, your enemy knows you. The problem that we have is that the enemy knows us better than we know ourselves. So we'll be like, he a boss, and the enemies, people are looking at him laughing. I told y'all in 2017, he is the spokesperson for this liquor. He is not the person who owns the company. No, he got a small share. He's an owner. I don't care if it's 1%, it's something. Listen, they will give a Negro, an $8 person, especially, any amount of money to say that I'm an owner. To be able to say, because they know that's the headline. That's the headline. Oh, he's an owner. Oh my God, he's a boss. Now we got somebody owning teams. Remember when Diddy went around and told y'all he was finna buy? What team he was finna buy, y'all? What team he was finna buy? Listen, sometimes you gotta know who the main puppet in the puppeteer. He was puppet around little bottom caste Negroes, socking them out. Yes, that goes to show you how far down on the totem pole we are. But the true puppeteer was the one who owns all the factories and had him dancing in his kitchen, talking about, I got some new vanilla, vodka, I got some new, and you got to put it in your ice cream, put it in your coffee. Well, he said he put it in his coffee, y'all should have looked strange. Why you putting it in your coffee? Ain't you drink coffee in the morning? Woo! It's so much stuff. And they know it. They understand who we are. They understand we haven't had true bosses. They understand we're aspirational. And they understand that they can manipulate us through that admiration. And I said, hey, that's what they're doing. And a whole bunch of people came into the thing and came and said, you're just a hater. You're just a hater. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And I want to just introduce you to somebody. This is Antonio Gramsci from all the way back, Italy, totalitarianism, Mussolini, all that stuff, right? But I want to introduce you really quickly to a theory that he had, and it was called cultural hegemony. And I'm going to just plug that into what we're talking about, just to give it some kind of foundation. This is Marxist Italy or whatever. Oh my God, it's a socialist. It's what you're talking about, a Marxist. Oh, that's programming. Because you can be, let me tell you something. I don't care whether you are capitalist, socialist, whatever you are, you should read everything. You should not say, I'm not going to read that book because I'm a capitalist. I love all these no money capitalists too. Capitalists with no capital tickle me to death. But he wrote something. I was trying to find the book. I can never find the book till after I do the show. But it was Prison Notebooks. And one of the things that he said, which was very interesting. Look at this man right here. Before I go to look at that. I'm finna put this up. Hold on. Look at this man right here. I'm sorry. Before I go to this is Gramsci. Not Gramsci. So let me go before I go to this. And I don't know why this got to be AI. They can't be drawing this. They cannot be drawn. This is not a painting. I don't believe this. I do not believe this. But let me just point out something that he said, which you just have to understand. And this is from Stanford Department of Philosophy. Gramsci has been enormously influential as a Marxist theorist of cultural and political domination in developed capitalism. However, his career was that of a radical journalist and revolutionary organizer, not a professional philosopher. Gramsci was a socialist activist, cultural commentator, and later Communist Party leader in Italy. Most of his writings are concerned with assessing the immediate political situation and particularly the prospects for revolution in interwar Italy. Nonetheless, Gramsci was conversant with philosophical currents of the time, especially Italian neo-idealism, native intellectual and political traditions dating back to Machiavelli, and the major currents of Marxist thought. It was only with his imprisonment by the fascist authorities that he produced his most well-known philosophically rich text, Prison Notebooks. The insides therein account for much of his posthumous recognition. Now, here's where it's important. Here's where it starts to get important, right? In Notebooks, Gramsci undertook a series of historical and theoretical reflections on the conditions for revolution in modern states such as Italy's, where degrees of popular consent had been achieved. He employed the concept hegemony, I always pronounce that wrong, to describe a process of intellectual and moral leadership that embedded a ruling class across society. He rejected the economic determinism of classical Marxism in favor of a nuanced political analysis attuned to contingent variation in historical circumstance. And I'm about to explain to you what that means and how it's relevant. Just stick with me for one more thing. Hegemony had been a common term in Marxist debates among Russian Marxists and usually described the leading or hegemonic role of the working class over its allies in a political coalition. But it had also been employed by Italian political thinkers in the 19th century to imagine gradually building consent across the nation for the new state, making Italians. Rather than relying exclusively on the exercise of force, Gramsci fused these meanings to present hegemony as the general hypothesis that a social class aims to achieve consensual domination for its rule by progressively expanding its leadership across society. So what does this mean, Yvette? What does this mean? What is the intersection between this Marxist man in Italy and what you're talking about in terms of Diddy? Well, one more thing. Gramsci's discussion of hegemony hinged in part on the empirical observation that capitalist rule in developed Western states increasingly is founded on the generation of consent across civil society, not solely the deployment of coercion via the army or police. So what we're talking about again is propaganda, right? What we're talking about, listen, when I say that these people, right, the people who oppress us systemically, when I say they know us better than we know ourselves, they know that they have to kind of manage consent, right? And what they have to do is figure out a way to do this where you buy in, because they've learned from us. Like, we ain't learned enough from them not to employ it, but they've learned from us one thing. Hey, we don't want to do these movements no more. When these ADOS people get convinced that they're being oppressed, they will absolutely do movement. They will do movement work. They will absolutely get in the streets. They will absolutely revolt. They will do it. They know that if we know that, hey, we don't have options, if we know that we don't have the things that we need, the tools that we need, we don't have the full toolbox that everybody else got, they know that if we realize that, oh, we finna fight. Oh, we'll do some revolutionary stuff. We'll get busy. We will revolt consistently. Civil rights movement started in the 50s, ended in the late 60s. They know what we're capable of, even if we don't. So you have to, ladies and gentlemen, have some degree of social engineering, which requires us to buy into some things that don't exist. It requires us to legitimize inequality. Well, what do you mean? Well, if you legitimize inequality, then it doesn't become something that's systemic that we need to fight against. So if somebody like Diddy and all the rest of them say, hey, y'all remember these idiots talking about, you got the same 24 hours. We all got the same 24 hours. That legitimizes the status quo, which says, I'm not doing something right. So you look at yourself in the mirror, you can look at yourself and you see, wait a minute, I'm working on what? But I heard this man say that who I look up to, not me, somebody, but so that I got the same 24 hours. So I just got to work harder. right? And it still don't work, but that person has legitimized for you a system that is really built on oppression, poverty, a racialized caste, but they have legitimized that for you, and that makes them a tool of social engineering. And that's what Gramsci was trying to say. Listen, there has to be a consent. There has to be a sort of buy-in here. You have to adopt the worldview. It doesn't work if you just kind of adopt the worldview. Then you have to be real totalitarian. You have to be like Putin and just. I'm reading the book now where the dissident, child, they hit him with nerve gas on the plane. But anyway, let me stop. I'll talk to y'all about that later. But so you have to do something that legitimizes that worldview. You can't say, in the 60s, in the 50s, slavery, post-slavery, Reconstruction, we could say this is wrong. And we have to organize against this thing because this thing is wrong and it's oppressing us and it's in our faces. What they did was use people to take it out of our faces. And they used those people to tell us that we don't need we don't need nothing. We don't need to fight the system or nothing like that no more. Because Diddy exists. And Diddy isn't telling us to fight the system. As a matter of fact, he went down when he started talking about Diageo. He went down when he started talking about revolt. He wasn't making no money. His whole job was to say vote or die. That's as far as you can go. You can't, don't be out here because you know your role. You're a marketer for all this stuff we tell you to market for, but you don't get. You're a product. You're our product. You're our tool. We are the puppeteer. So you don't get to do that stuff you're talking about. So you get to go out here and tell these people that the most they can do is go vote. Go vote for Clinton, go vote for Obama, go vote for whatever. But that's it. That's the extent. Right? So let me just put this up because because I tried to break down, I tried to break it down a little bit in terms of integrating Gramsci's work and 5 ways that Diddy does what he talks about in terms of maintaining that hegemony. Like this is the 5 ways he does that. So, and the ways that in which he is engaged in like this social engineering. So Diddy, as organic intellectual, promotes elite-friendly values like wealth accumulation and brand loyalty, right? There's no, these are my friends, whoever, all these Hollywood elite, these are my people. I'm sitting out here with this hedge fund guy. So this guy who is part of, you believe, your community and who made it from the bottom is sitting down with these people that can't be bad. They can't be that bad. That's number 1. Number 2, manufactured consent uses visibility and influence to make elite solutions seem like common sense. Well, we vote for whatever. We just gotta, because that was part of his thing, like make stuff that isn't really just common sense look like common sense. That's part of social engineering. You just gotta work harder. Yeah, that's the elite solution. That's what Oprah said. Oprah said you just gotta organize your day better. It was a little white lady over there fighting for her life. She was working like 3 jobs. Oprah said you need better sandwich bags to organize your day better. That is a consent to a way of life that you never really consented to, but it's just made to look like this common sense. This is normal. This is the way it is, right? So passive revolution absorbs radical demands like reparations into elite safe initiatives. Vote or die, Revolt TV, we need ownership. Okay, what does ownership look like? Well, I own Revolt TV and that makes it possible and that's what it is. So we can come up with all the radical solutions that we want to come up with. They will transform them and say, hey, this is what we need. So they will go and earn your leisure and say, look, I did it. What you got to do is do this thing right here. This doesn't change the system at all. This doesn't change the system that we're trying to fight. War of position blocker crowds out grassroots voices that challenge systemic inequality for ADOS. So you can go talk to Diddy or whoever. So you don't got to talk to me. So any kind of voices like mine and others, we don't get to stay on TV and be the voice of the people. You use him. Hey, what are the black people? What do they think about this? What are you thinking about this? How is he my voice? How is he your voice? How is he our voice? Spectacle over substance shifts attention to celebrity culture instead of policy and policy change or wealth redistribution. Right? This is a manipulation of our culture. Like, you have to understand that a lot of the values that we have or we used to have, we didn't swap them out. Right? Like, these values were swapped out for us. We didn't swap them out. We didn't say, I want my whole life to be about consumerism. I want my whole life to be about competition with other people who have gone through the same bottom trash life as me. I want to compete with them. No, I don't want to really. I'm not about collaboration. I want you to get it how you live. That competition, that's elite. Those are elite values. When you are here, you need to collaborate. You need to be family, whether you know it or not. But you have adopted an elite value that says that brother, that sister over there, those are your competition. And you don't owe nobody nothing. Okay. It's not going to work out. And they manipulate the culture for dominance. It's not just to manipulate the culture for the sake of manipulating the culture. The culture is manipulated so that they can have dominance, so you don't have no revolution, don't have no movement. No, they don't want to do that no more. They lose when they do that. America was embarrassed during the Cold War and all this stuff that was happening, and people was out in the streets and this stuff was happening to Negroes, and they didn't have the moral high ground no more because the world was like, we can see you. We can see, like, we don't know what you're talking about or who you're trying to lead. We can see you. They make corporations, no matter what they do, not that bad, because all of a sudden, no, so-and-so's a part of that. And that's part of your group. We get real confused when somebody in our group is a part of something. You stop really thinking about systems and their outcomes. We don't say that the system is designed a certain way. We start to believe that the outcomes are based on our individual effort, not understanding that this country and every country has a system. So if Diddy comes and tells you, hey, this is a meritocracy, everybody can get it. He had on a shirt. I wish I had brought the shirt that said, I am the American dream. That's propaganda. You see this young Negro, he was in his 20s then, with a shirt on that says, I am the American dream. It makes you start believing in the American dream. You just start working harder. And everything that happens, you put on your own back and not the back of how this system is set up. That's a whole nother psychic burden on you. Forget the physical burden. No, you already burdening your body. You already out here burdening your body. I'm just going. We got the same 24 hours. I'm grinding. I don't sleep. You don't sleep. Hold on. The human body, ladies and gentlemen, is designed to sleep. You don't sleep. How did that become a value that we hold dear, not sleeping? Because not sleeping is a bad quality of life. Not sleeping ages you faster. Not sleeping sets you up for all kinds of ailments and heart attacks and stroke. That's what not sleeping does. So you have to ask yourself, and sometimes you have to audit yourself. Whose values do I have? Am I a product? Are my values that I hold a product of social engineering that come from people in elite places that look like me, who are not me? Is that what I'm doing right now? Am I a product? Have I allowed these people to engineer me? Right? Have I allowed these people to engineer me through celebrities? And so as he goes, there's some mistakes that we just can't make again. Like, it's one thing to make a mistake, and this mistake was made for years. You just vote or die. You got the same for 24 hours. When everybody, remember when they started talking, when they started having BET, and all these things where they were talking about what do the black people want? And it was Diddy and all kind of people. Al Sharpton was up there. Listen, this is a problem. This is a problem. And that's all I'm saying to you. This is an issue. What are your values? Now, don't tell me, I don't want to hear nothing about the values that nobody gave you. What are your values? Because go back to what this man was doing. I just want to go back to what he was doing real quick and show you what everybody was running around and saying was black excellence. We was gonna take it back to where we started real quick. Clark told the court that she was sitting in the car with Kid Cudi's home when Combs accessed the main door of the rapper's property. She said she called Cassie Ventura from the car and told her that Combs came to Cudi's home to KILL the rapper. We talked about Clark testified. Whew. He done told one woman, we all know he done kicked Cassie. Apparently he did that a lot. He done told one woman he was gonna make her KILL herself. He done tried to allegedly all this stuff KILL Cudi. So he had a gun in his hand, all this stuff. This was what was being paraded to you as black excellence. Right? This is what y'all was saying, that this was relationship goals. Listen, it cannot be. This cannot be. This cannot be. I'm sorry, y'all. That we can't keep doing this. And I got to talk about it because one of the easiest way to manipulate us is through celebrity. This some awful stuff. And they'll make you believe. All you got to do, this is another thing that goes to Gramsci's point. All you got to do, they'll make you believe that all you got to do is have individual success. We don't need no systemic change. No, we just no. We just got to have individual success. And if I got it, you can get it. So go out there, same 24 hours. It's the same stuff over and over and over again. So you know what that does? And that's what it's done since I had this conversation in 2017. And I started having it before that. But do you understand? I got a bunch of videos about Diddy. Just type it in there. What it does is it neutralizes your politics. So if you believe that, hey, I can do it individually, why would you feel like you have to do anything politically? They done told you you can get it out the mud. Clark lost hair and barely slept due to the 24-hour stress of her job working for Combs. The former assistant said, yeah, you can't grow hair with no sleep. Your hair, you... I bet you did. I bet you lost hair. I bet you did. I believe you. I believe you. If I don't believe nothing else, I believe you lost hair. For a $55,000 a year salary, Clark said she would work from 7 a.m. to 4 a.m. doing everything from research to fetching dry cleaning and food. The witness said she even suffered from stress-related alopecia, the clinical term for hair loss due to her boss's nonstop demands. He gonna tell you, wear a wig, honey. I don't know what you're gonna do. Like, yes. He don't care about nobody. Had y'all running around talking about black love. You know, I'm love. I'm love. This man was a menace. But he told you, we just need symbolic. He gave you all that symbolic success for years. He was in the psyche of Negroes for such a long time. $55,000 a year to be doing all that, to get terrorized and traumatized. That's how, listen. Fam, listen. I like I said, I don't want to, I can't imagine. Because I'm a person, I need my sleep. I just cannot imagine. And for somebody else, if you're going to stay awake, but that's what, no, she thought they was going to do it. Clark told the court that Combs once accused her of, the 3 pieces of high-end jewelry. We talked about that, yeah. And it's not funny, but it's just so ridiculous to me. And I hate that it's that way. I really do. It's just the most ridiculous thing. And you should never have had to, we should never have had to fight to convince people. The proof was always there. What's the other thing at? Hold on a second. Let me see if y'all remember this real quick. He hid everything too. They said a couple weeks ago that he was hospitalized. He had an overdose, but remember that's what I remember, the kettlebell incident. Like, we've known enough to know. That, like, this is not somebody who has been idolized. So the question you have to ask yourself is, what kind of wool was being thrown over my face? What prevented me? Because you have to correct yourself. Remember when Pocket Watching with JT first started making videos, right? I said that we have to have an accountability culture. We have a walk-off culture. We don't have an accountability culture where people go back and say, how did I not see this? What part of my awareness made it to where I couldn't understand, even with all the rumors, whether it was Shine or whether it was him not paying people, all these rumors, and his politics isn't like yours. We are not in the same class. You don't have the same tax returns, so you don't have the same objectives. So you have to ask yourself at a certain point. And this is my thing for us. First of all, I don't want us to be manipulated by celebrities anymore. We control our politics. They don't need to control our politics. We should understand how they're used now. And if you want to act, if you want to sing, if you want to do whatever, if you want to do the boogaloo, I do not care. You want to play basketball, that's fine. Football, whatever you want to do, do it. But we have to take back our politics. We have to take back our politics. And number two, everybody who believed in this and believed in this black excellence marketing trash, I need you ain't got to tell me. You don't have to have no conversation with old vet, but you have to have a conversation with yourself in the mirror. Right? You have to, how did I not see this? How did I go years believing that this person was excellent? What did he show me? He didn't show you nothing to make you think that way. So you have to have accountability with yourself. You don't have to listen, you can lie to whoever you want to, but please don't lie to yourself. And don't walk off. If you can't be accountable to yourself, you can't be accountable to nobody. If you can't look in the mirror and say, you know what? I kind of screwed the pooch on that. If you can't look in your mirror and say that to yourself, we have a problem as a community. Because I've seen it. It's not just him. I see it with Jay Morrison. I see it with all these people who said they was going to rebuild Black Wall Street and all this stuff. And when the thing happens and they don't do it and they walk off, you walk off with them and just say, well, I tried. No. When we were telling you that this thing was scheme and scam, why didn't you pause? Why didn't you take a look? What part of you, everybody, and I'll end it here, fam. We all have internal drivers. There are things that pull us like magnets. That can be because of how you grew up. That can be because of your trauma. That can be because of your desire. That can be because of your aspiration. That can be because of your need for fulfillment. That can be because your need for company, your need for partnership. We all have that. We all have some of that, right? The biggest problem that happens, though, is when you're not aware that you have it. When you are not aware that you have it, you don't know what's in there. You don't know what needs to be fixed. You don't know what bag of worms you got. You don't know when you're being manipulated. So if there's anything I want to just say right now, fam, it is figure out what your drivers are. Figure out what your drivers are. And be honest with yourself. You ain't got to tell nobody. Tell your journal. But be honest with yourself, because there's something that needs to be fixed for us to be manipulated this long into believing somebody was great and an idol and to find out that they're this way. None of this surprised me at all. Like the whole thing, he pointedly told her if she did steal the jewelry, he was going to throw her in the river. That's allegedly what he said. But listen, and that's who everybody was believing was Black excellence. Hey, we got some work to do. We got some political work, but we also have some internal work and we got some accountability work. And I just hope we'll be honest enough with ourselves and with each other about what we need to happen and how quickly we need it to happen, because we can't go through this phase again. And our politics cannot be run by celebrities. Yeah, it can't be run by the usual gatekeepers, but it can't be run by celebrities either. They don't know nothing about what they're talking about. So anyway, fam, I will leave it there. If you want to call in, I'll set up the phones and we will have a conversation about it. That's what we always do. Give me a couple minutes. All right, fam, we are back. We are back. Going to hold on a second. Oh, dang. Let me go to 734. 734. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How about
Hello?
you? I'm doing good. How you doing?
How you doing?
Turn your background down. Turn your background down.
Yeah. This is a good subject we just talking about with regards to celebrity. But what you failed to mention was that Malcolm X told us about this back in 1965,
Mm-hmm.
and he stated that the black celebrity, that black people was the only people on the planet to have black celebrities as leaders, and he said that if I can remember, that this was nothing but a system creating systems to which to manipulate us by the greater system or the oppressors, and that the celebrities that we're using today don't have our best interest at hand. And he figured this out back in '65, and we still to this day haven't caught up to what he was trying to tell us at that time. And now we're finding out the results with regards to Diddy and R. Kelly and a lot of other celebrities that and Shannon Sharp and everybody's crashing and burning. So that's all I wanted to say. That Malcolm X told us this.
Well, let me ask you a question though, fam. Why don't you think we learned? That's a long time ago that Malcolm told us that.
I think with our obsession with celebrity, because you understand. I would say that I'm from Motown. I'm from Detroit, and I think Motown had a great influence with regards to the black people in the city of Detroit, because we saw those people as us, and Diana Ross and all those people. They lived in our neighborhood, and we saw them as one of us, and we saw them as a part of us. And I think that we gravitated towards that these people are us. So when we see celebrity, we think that we have some type of close attraction to them, and that it's like it's a bond that's hard to break away from.
But you know what? But even if that, like, and even if that, like, even if this is somebody you feel like, hey, this is somebody who creates like really they like you say Diana Ross, like culturally, I love this music. I think they do this thing well, right? Even if that's where you are, right? The question then becomes, how come they can't stay in that lane? Like, how come you just can't love the music and leave them there? Like, that becomes the thing for me. Even if you love it, like, how come you can't love it? Why do they have to then become like almost a god to you? This is almost a godlike thing.
Well, that's because when you talk about systems, that's the way the system was created. When Berry Gordy created Motown, he was creating a system of influence among black people to show black excellence and to show black achievement, and that's why you had Ebony magazine, you had Right On magazine, and a lot of these books were just nothing but influence on black people and showing celebrities as an example of how to be black. And celebrity became a roadmap or a trophy or a showpiece for black people to show them how to be black. And I think we just don't know how to be black on our own, but we know how to be black through celebrities.
Well, I'll leave you with that, fam. That was yeah. Thank you. Ooh, that was a word. Appreciate you. Know how to be black through celebrities. All right, I'm gonna go to another caller, fam. Thank you so much, fam. 404. What's going on? Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I didn't hit it right. Oh. What's going on, 404?
Hey, Red, happy Wednesday.
Hey, how you doing? Speak up just a little bit for me.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
You know, I'm glad that you and a few other black women on YouTube have been calling out Diddy for years. So I know friends locally who actually were either in like the DJ scene or trying to get into music.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the 90s, early 2000s, there were rumors that he was not a person that you wanted to do business with. And I thought that was interesting because my friends weren't connected to top level people, but even for some of them to be in the middle, and let's say, the entry side of like the industry, for them to hear rumors like that and actually come back and say, hey, if you're ever out somewhere and you run into this person or people that know this person, steer clear. And the other thing, I think as far as celebrity, I don't think ADOS people want to do this, but we have to call a lot of ADOS celebrities what they are. They are also another form of oppression. And I don't expect all of them to be, rah-rah, boots on the ground, advocating like celebrities did of yesteryear. However, I also don't expect you to get in the way of, I also don't expect you to get in the way of our advocacy by being a tool for the white capitalistic system. That you don't have to do.
But you know what? And I agree with you. But you know what's very interesting to me? If I try to go and talk about making music, people would say, Yvette, sit down and shut up. Like, you don't know how to make music. Like, you don't know how to, produce music. You don't know how to pick an artist. This isn't your lane. Right? They would know. People would know. And I wouldn't have no problem with people saying, I said it all the time about like when people try to break down sports. I don't watch it no more. I used to watch football. I stopped watching it eons ago. So I would accept that. But we let celebrities go in 10,000 different lanes, which to me is just the strangest thing. They just have the wherewithal. They can talk about politics. They can talk about business. They can talk about their vocation. They can talk about relationships. It's just kind of like they get to run the gamut. So we don't have people that have specific lanes in our community. Just everybody, they just get to do everything. They get to eat all the cake.
And you know what? I'll say this. Something that I noticed specifically around the pandemic, because I was one of those people who was in healthcare, like working with patients in the thick of COVID, going, wait a minute, before I take any new vaccines, I want more information because, yeah, girl, no, we're not doing that. And I've always been that way. Just like if I have pain, I'm not going to just pop, Tylenol or a pain pill. No, I'm going to look for an alternative. And so many of my college-educated friends, ADOS and otherwise, told me that it was something wrong with me for not listening to Bill Gates' perspective on vaccines. Well, Bill Gates has not been too medical.
Well, listen, I think I told, and I'll end that on this. When that happened, I told everybody the same thing. I said, I didn't speak on it, and because I said, I got a bunch of virologists and immunologists that I'm listening to, and I'll make my decision, you make yours. So I do agree that like when you're making any decision, you have to find the expertise. And the example I've used before is like, listen, recently when I cracked my tooth, it was this side this time. I went to the dentist. Like that's a person who specializes in teeth, right? It's just amazing to me that we allow celebrities to occupy all the lanes. And like they have one or two, right? Areas where they specialize in. You can't specialize in everything. And we allow them to occupy all of the lanes and just be an expert. Like when you go to a doctor, don't you? When you go to a mechanic, when your car, that check engine light and you starts rumbling, you go to a mechanic. Like it's just, that's the only space where we just allow them to do whatever they feel like doing on any given day.
Well, you know what? I think part of the issue is, and we're seeing this play out in real time with Elon Musty Dusty and Trump. People assume, especially with white males or white leaning or white identified males, that because they're wealthy, that they automatically are smarter. And this even applies to Diddy. And we're seeing in real time that these people are not as smart as you probably were conditioned to believe. A lot of them are incredibly stupid. They are just smart enough to have smart people around them. That's it. And of course, they have access to wealth.
Yeah, what happens is, and the media, and that's part of what Gramsci talked about, and the media wants to put them on because, like, there's a class of people that you want this to kind of perpetuate this system the way it's going to kind of perpetuate. But I agree with you, right? If somebody's making music and they're on tour, like, you have to be a really intentional person to do that as well as read and understand things. Those kinds of people are truly exceptional and they're rare. So I appreciate you, fam. You have a good one. I'm gonna try to get to another call. You have thank you, fam. I appreciate you. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, some wild stuff. I'm going right now to 973. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, peace and blessings. I'm calling from out of Newark, New Jersey.
Okay. Don't go to the airport. You ain't flying nowhere. Speak up just a little bit for me, fam. Y'all got
I'm calling from Newark, New Jersey, and we have a situation brewing in Newark, New Jersey, where celebrity is at the top of the forefront and everybody else falls below.
Okay. Okay.
Let me explain.
Okay.
We have a mayor, black mayor, went to Howard University with Puffy, right? And what we have is him placating as if he's, because of this black excellence thing, everybody's looking to him for answers. He's leading protests and things like that, when this is the most oppressive person in the entire city. And it's like, when do we wake up? When do we say, all right, just because a person graduated college doesn't necessarily mean this is the person that's for our civil liberty. Just because a person excels in politics, which, going to these Greek universities or whatever the case may be, we have a class of people who hover on and kind of keep everybody else down. And that's what's going on in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay, listen. Is your mayor Ross, bro? That's who you talking about?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, he was the one who after y'all remember Bruiser, who smushed somebody in the face and then tried to say it was an ADOS person and it had nothing to do with us. He met with him right after that incident to try to redeem his reputation and had somebody else over there too that I ain't never heard of. So I don't have any kind of love for the way he has carried himself. But yeah, I mean, it's true for politicians as well. I don't know. Did he just get arrested or something? Was he the one that was at the ICE facility or something?
Yes, and he's trying to make himself out as if he is the next Martin Luther King or Malcolm X, when truly he is the oppressor. And nationally, people don't understand. Me being a person that is in the community, does community work, I see it front line. It's like, yo, all right, where's the resources coming into these programs that need help? And what he does is he gives them to his friends, his family. It's a nepotism type of situation that carries on. It's the same.
It's hard to
oppression and black oppression.
Yeah, it's hard to build movements in opposition to ADOS leaders, right? Whether they be ADOS or black, it's hard to, because we get so captured by representation that we don't. And that's one thing that we have to really work with people, like to connect. Like, forget the person, forget the personality, forget the charisma. It's all about, are the resources getting to your community? And that's something that people have to be trained to assess. And we haven't done the best job of training people to assess the fact that this is about the resources that are reaching you. This is about your politics. This is about your agenda. This is not about whether or not he makes the news. for something that isn't bringing money to your community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you very much. I don't want to rant on about it. I just want, Adolf America to keep their eyes on Newark, New Jersey, and understand. My name is Musa El Amin. I am a grassroots leader in Newark, New Jersey. I run a few different community centers. And just because you see a black face on leadership, that doesn't mean that person is for the people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I appreciate you, fam. And we've always tried to teach that, to be an agenda-driven person, because that's how they get us with personality. But being an advocate, or whether there's a difference between being a mobilizer and an organizer. But being an organizer is often such a thankless job. Like, nobody's like, you can get the money to the community and nobody's like, oh my God, that's great. Like, I appreciate that you did that. Like, somebody else can just go talk and get into it with an ICE officer, and next thing you know, they're arrested rightly or wrongly, and they're all over TV, and we don't see that. That's just a move for you to get on TV. That's not a move for you. You weren't fighting, to get resources to your community. There are a lot of cuts coming from the Trump administration. You were not fighting for that. You were at an oversight thing at an ICE facility. And so we're just like, oh my God, that shouldn't have happened. As opposed to, like, who was he there fighting for? Like, that's the question people should be asking, but they don't ask it enough. 945, what's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
Hey, how you doing today?
Good. How about you?
I'm doing well. You asked to call earlier, why we don't learn and why we don't remember. And, sometimes I think that we don't understand patterns, but that's really an effect. The cause of not understanding patterns is we don't go upstream in our history to even understand that we ourselves are actually a pattern. If you look at Sean Combs' early life, he was actually his dad was actually an associate of Frank Lucas, renowned Harlem gangster whom Denzel portrayed in American Gangster. So gangsterism runs deep within his whole history. And I've also heard that Combs actually isn't even ADOF at all. He has a different kind of lineage. And so how he got infiltrated into, our collective zeitgeist as black folks, American black folks, I'm not sure, but I have an idea about how the thing that we call celebrity or image, it's really a different modified form of telecommunications. And the history of our telecommunications being gerrymandered, whether having our drums taken during slavery, or if it was the northern Christians who came down to the South after the Denmark Vesey rebellion to teach us Negro spirituals, because we did not invent those. Those were taught to us to kind of keep us suppressed so that we wouldn't rebel again. We have no recollection of any of this kind of stuff. What I find very interesting is that Sean Combs came on the scene in the early 90s, around the time when the 1996 Telecommunications Act was passed by Congress, that allowed for the major Ma Bell companies and Time Warner and all those folks, Comcast, to reacquire locally owned telecommunications and radio businesses and to remonopolize. You'll see a pattern of this too in other areas of our history, such as Scott LaRock. When he was killed, he was trying to acquire ownership of his own liquor company. Same thing with Sam Cooke. And so, when I think about that, and I tie that into when Cosby was trying to buy NBC, and then when Byron Allen was trying to acquire the Weather Channel, there is a deep pernicious focus on whenever we try to get control of our own media, get control of our own telecoms, get control of, how we are passing information. Very extreme things tend to happen.
But let me just speak about this in a specific way, though, and I'm gonna let you finish. The thing that's being omitted from this conversation is this though. See that, and I think there's a reason why. Like, if you want to really have ownership, you have to live in a very specific kind of way, right? And what you see in this Diddy thing, and I think even in the bit of the Cosby stuff, is that you had some degenerate stuff with you, and way more than that, more than some. But the very people who were keeping your secrets, right? That hotel tape didn't come out of nowhere. The person who got the hotel tape, when you told him, "Hey, I need help," the hotel has a tape of me whooping this lady with my girlfriend. The people who helped you out of that mess, they have the files. So like, you can't be a puppet and then turn around and try to play revolutionary, because these people are going to tell you where to go. So I also think there's a problem with, you have decided to be a tool of social engineering for a very long time, and then you're going to turn that and decide that I'm going to be an owner, and it doesn't work that way. And if you think it works that way, I can show you. And that's what they're doing. And so you have to live your life in such a way that they would have to fabricate something, because you don't do that. No, they've been covering up for you for years. Diddy's been too close to violence, and stuff just disappears allegedly, and he ain't never been convicted of nothing. So anyway, fam, I'll let you finish up.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and it might be the case that there is an institution of some sort that picks Diddy-like folks up way ahead of time, and then kind of funnel them down an avenue to rise them up to keep us confused. I actually wouldn't be surprised at that. There was something.
Listen, I wouldn't either. Let me tell you, it was even. I don't even know if this is still at Howard. Howard is so off the rails with craziness now. But when I was there, they took us somewhere in Lynchburg one year. A bunch of the Negro, with a bunch of Negro judges and elites, and said that you're going to be here because we think you're going to be great, something like that, right? Because you and it was like, why? First of all, why are we in Lynchburg? And like, who? Like, it was elite. So I'm just saying, if Negroes are trying to do that and say we brought y'all out here to the middle of nowhere in this cabin looking stuff, and we brought you out here with a bunch of people who are doing judging a bunch. If Negroes are doing that, I guarantee you that. And I barely remember, but if Negroes doing that, I guarantee you that there's something that the people who actually run things are actually doing.
Yeah, and now that I think about it, and you mentioned Lynchburg, this is probably something that has been patterned. It was perpetrated on us also during slavery. I've recently read somewhere that they had overseers who were black men, and one of the ways that they would reward them for being overseers was to give them extra wives. So here you have an overseer, Sean Combs, multiple women, Sean Combs. And so this is just an update of something that actually might be more ancient than we actually have an understanding. But, I appreciate the conversation, you talking about this, and I'll let you get back to your show. Thank you very much.
No, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for calling in, fam. Yeah. And you're right, fam. With the irony, somebody said in the chat, Lynchburg. Yes, the irony of that. I am in fear of my life. What if they had something? I wonder if that thing still goes on. Oh goodness, I didn't even know really what it was until I got there, child. But anyway, fam. It's like, I guess mentor, but it was Negroes all over doing great things back then. Like, you gotta think about how different that is now. Like, they don't even have like that now. We're about to be done with ADOS lawyers and doctors and judges. They can't afford to do it no more. But they had all to be my child. Anyway, half people they said 2/3 people they said it was gonna be great. They wasn't great no way. But let me stop, y'all. Let me stop. We just gonna make it a short show today. I'll let y'all get out of here. And please keep it easy breezy. Don't bother nobody. Don't let nobody bother you. Please, if you get a chance, subscribe to my Substack. Also, please, if you get an opportunity, you have not already, go and check out the ADOS Advocacy Foundation YouTube page. Please subscribe over there. Please watch. We have a Critical Mass podcast over there. Please go over there and check that out as well. If you have not done that, remember June 12th. on Patreon is our book club. So if you that's the $5 tier. So if you are over there, remember that is June 12th. That's coming up. If you are not there, subscribe at least for a month. You can still read the book, Wreck Crew. Like it's a quick read. You can still check it out and be a part of what we're doing. If you need to up your tier for 1 month, do that. But anyway, fam, let me get out of here. I will talk to y'all later. Please keep it easy breezy. I will see the rest of y'all Friday at 2:00 in the afternoon. We do our Friday 2 p.m. show. So please, I will see you there. All right, fam? All right. Talk soon.